Hey, what's up, everybody? You're back with Germ, Griffin, Recordings Archive. We got the crew from Frontline Dads in the building. What's going on?
Yep. How you doing, bro? Nice to be here. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. Listen, we're at Rec Philly Studios. It's so good to be here, and it's November 19th. Super glad. I had a busy day, y'all. I had a really busy day. It was a lot of stuff I had to do today, but I finally got to the studio. We got a really good guest. We got two really good guests. I mean, I'm really glad we got some good guests on today. Would our guests like to introduce themselves?
Hey, how you doing? I'm Bilal.
How you doing? I'm Brandon.
All right, Brandon and Bilal was popping off. So, I'm glad you guys are on the show. I'm glad you guys were able to come and get onto the show. We've been dealing with a lot of different stuff. Working with peacemakers, right? We've been learning a lot of different stuff, doing peacemakers.
Shout out to Mr. Rube.
Shout out to Mr. Ruben.
Peacemakers.
Mr. Ruben. Yes. So he has taught us a lot. Shout out to Mr. Zigler, too. He's taught us a lot.
Glad to be a part of Peacemakers.
Awesome. So for people who are listening who may not have ever heard of Frontline Dads, Peacemakers, what is that program? What exactly is Frontline Dads, Peacemakers?
For me, Frontline Dad is a safe place to be with your brothers and learning community service. Frontline Dads is we all are fathers, or some of us are uncles, or somewhere in between, and we all have kids in our lives, so we're here for the community. So for that, I've been here for about almost a year now. So it definitely changed my life. And the brothers that I brought with me changed their life too. I'm glad to be here.
Dang, that's real. For someone who may have never heard of this org, essentially you've learned a lot from it, but someone who may not have heard, what do they actually do? What did what was the program like exactly?
Well, lately we've been in a voting, trying to get incarcerated people to vote, or just involved with that lately. And before that, we were getting ready for the learn how to carry.
Okay.
Legally.
Yeah.
And before that, we were at Temple learning how to stop bullet wounds and stuff like that.
Gunshot wounds.
Yeah. So many different things.
Awesome.
Gun range was fun. I participated in that segment of the program. It was a good experience. My first time ever shooting a gun was I would say weightlifted off my shoulder after I shot that gun. But it was good learning how to safely carry, safely use a gun, the things to do and things not to do while you have a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting.
Awesome. So it taught you some things about pretty much guns, but also gunshot wounds. It taught you about helping incarcerated people
get to vote. Yeah.
Get to vote. That sounds like really important work.
That's what Mr. Rube was doing, and I just tried to get a part of the program when he was doing it. Just wanted to stick my neck out, show him that I'm here, and show him that I'm here willing to learn more. And right now we're in this mentorship program, and that's been about maybe 4 maybe 5 weeks now, and I'm enjoying that too, because being a part of the community is definitely what I want to be.
Right.
So it's just that's what you're saying about Frontline Dads is more than just the activities that we're doing with each other. We're out here in the community, and learning how to be out there in the community.
Dang. Okay. So you guys are interacting with the community, and that sounds great.
Yeah.
How many times do you interact with this program? How many times are you during the week? Is this an everyday thing, or is this once a week, once a month?
Well, when I was going through the regular cohort, I was getting together 3 or 4 times a week at one time.
Okay.
Then,
Twice a week. Yeah.
About twice or 3 times a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
But lately it's just every week?
Every week.
Every week now, but it's very consistent. No time off, and they expect a lot of us.
Really? Okay. Okay, that sounds good. So it sounds like it's a real community of people expecting a lot. out of each other, getting together every week, doing stuff in the community, helping incarcerated people in the voting process. There's some gun wound education and stuff. It sounds like a lot going on with this. Like, in your personal lives, what was like the most important thing like to come out of Frontline Dads Peacemakers?
Like right now, the mentorship program is definitely benefiting me. I just got a part of a mentorship program in Southwest Philadelphia.
Okay.
And there's about 20 young men on down from middle school to high schoolers, and we're taking them out every Saturday, Sunday, anything, everything. The last 2 weeks we've been on pause, but a week before that, like maybe 3 weeks ago, they took them flying, maybe 4 of them. They got the tour of Philadelphia and Jersey, all in the airplane. I missed it, but just hearing about the experiences and getting the pictures sent to my phone and the kids having a good time definitely was about that. Sky Zone, but what is the mainly thing about is having these young men together and doing stuff, doing different activities. They're always they're always doing something, but they were just in a big award ceremony. I missed that too, but Mr. Greg definitely has them doing a lot of things, and I'm happy to be part of that. And the mentorship program that I'm in right now is definitely helping me benefit through that.
Wow. So it sounds like you're in a mentorship program, but there's also mentors that have been mentoring you, or
Exactly.
Older people that's been speaking to the youth, and it's kind of dwindling down, correct?
Yeah.
Wow. That
And
sounds
through these
awesome.
programs, you get to meet different men or women and get to connect with other people that's doing the same thing that you want to do or that you're trying to do. So
Right.
Frontline Dad definitely done that for me.
And Brandon, what has been like the biggest thing that come out of this?
The biggest thing that came out of Frontline's Dad program, Peacemakers program, was the community service we used to do on Thursdays and Saturdays.
Oh, yeah.
And we get to interact with the community, give
could I
them
forget about
food,
that?
fruits, and like non-perishable items for them
Yeah.
to take home and use for themselves.
Wow.
Like I said, in the community.
Wow.
Like I said, in the community.
So it was like even a boots on the ground aspect where y'all were actively giving out the free fruits, vegetables,
And
produce.
in our community where we live at.
Yeah, we live right around the corner.
We live in this community.
So what is it, North Philly, South Philly?
North Philly.
North Philly? Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
And that's where Mr. Ruben from though. So this is his area. So getting the shine over there, that's definitely good too. So
Right.
seeing a lot of smiling faces and hearing them communicate with Mr. Ruben, like,
Right.
you know, like we're learning different parts of Mr. Ruben.
Tell me about some of the different speakers who have taught to you guys a part of this program. I know you mentioned a few names. I know there's like Mr. Zigler that's part of it, and different people that have spoken to the people in this program.
Right.
Can you tell me about some of those people?
Mr. Zigler is the leader of the mentorship program right now. He's the teacher. So I definitely owe him a lot of credit for where I'm going and where I want to be. But it's always, or like last week we were talking about anger management.
Yeah.
What else we were talking about? Was it the justice?
Restorative justice. Restorative justice.
Exactly.
Restorative justice.
You see Mr. Zig still teaching us that. But we just learn the different aspects of mentorship and learn about trauma and learn about dealing with our own trauma. Because when we go out there, that's what's going to be, thrown at us. So
Right.
it start within before you go without.
Yeah. And I hear that this program has been like a space where men can come together and even become very vulnerable with each other and talk about their stories, even the parts that, most people wouldn't just go on and tell people about. Is that true?
Hurt. Yeah, definitely, man. It's cleansing. It helps each other. I learn about my brother. My brother learns about me.
Yeah.
Vice versa.
Right.
And we know how to deal with each other. Because it's about, 4 of us in the class.
Right.
So,
so this is a small class. Hey.
Yeah, for now.
Wow. Yeah. So it's really intentional with that group of 4, group of 5, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
We the front line right now.
We're the front. I like that. I like that.
Sure.
I like that. I like that. I like that. To people that would like want to get involved with like this program or this organization, what would you have to say with them? How could they like essentially get in contact with anybody from this organization or get involved in this organization?
We're located on Broad and Susquehanna.
Okay.
So Frontline Dads is always, I'm not sure the hours, but you would definitely have to get with Mr. Ruben. You can get with me if you want my number, and I can refer you to Mr. Ruben. Okay. That's how I handle that. But if you want to get through Frontline Dads, you got to go through Mr. Ruben.
Okay. All right, sounds good. Anything else you guys wanted to say, Brandon? No? Okay. Awesome. Sounds good. Well, listen, we had a really good interview. I'm so glad I was able to talk to these guys. Check out Frontline Dads.
Yes,
it sounds like it's the move. It sounds like a great organization. Right at Broad and Susquehanna. Check them out. I'm gonna make sure that the contact information is in the show notes in the description.
Right.
And it sounds like some great work getting done for and by Black men in the city of Philadelphia.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks, Jay.
Yes.
Appreciate you having us.
Of course, no problem. This has been Germ Griffin recording his archive. You can always check us out on Spotify and wherever else you get a podcast. Germ Griffin recording his archive. Thank you very much. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah, my name is Ruben Jones, Executive Director of Frontline Dads, Inc. Happy to be here. Thank you for giving us a platform to share some of our work.
And my name is Raymond Zigler. Friends and family call me Ziggy, so feel free to call me Brother Zig. I'm a case manager up at Frontline Dads, Mr. Jones.
Awesome. Super glad you guys are here. So we just got done talking to like two people that came out of the Frontline Dads Peacemakers program. And I wanted to hear from, essentially you guys' point of view, like how has the program been going? And what does it look like from people outside looking in, inside looking out? There's been questions. People want to know about this great program. And, I think you two are the perfect people to tell us about Frontline Dads Peacemakers. What is it really set out to do?
I mean, Peacemakers set up to help reduce gun violence in Philadelphia. First and foremost, we focused on gun violence, particularly around, about 80% of gun violence that happen in the city is Black men shooting other Black men, right?
Okay.
And most of those are between the ages of, say, 14 and about 30.
Okay.
So we're focused primarily on saving lives by teaching folks how to negotiate conflict, peaceful conflict resolution skills, de-escalation techniques. We don't want to see people end up in fender benders or talk about the Tyson fight, get into an argument, and somebody gets shot. A lot of it comes from, anger management, if you will, but just poor emotional intelligence and emotional control. So we think that part of our job is helping people identify what some of those triggers are, so that when they find themselves in a situation, or even prevent themselves from getting in a situation that might escalate to violence.
Okay. So we're talking about preventing escalation, essentially.
Absolutely.
Wow, that sounds super important. Mr. Zig, would you like to add to that?
And we also add a restorative justice spend on it. We're learning with each other how to communicate better.
Okay.
And how to communicate effectively.
Okay.
Because we all have something going on in our lives day in and day out. And we understand this. But what we don't understand is how to articulate some of our pain to another brother.
Okay.
Or sister, for that fact.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
But the restorative justice piece also involves, like, somebody gets shot, whether they die or not, you got a victim. and you got a perpetrator who often gets prosecuted, goes to jail.
Right.
And that victim has to heal, right?
Right.
And that person has to return, the perpetrator has to return to a community. So we want the communities to be able to support both sides. We want the communities to feel whole again. And we have to do a better job as a community to promote and support healing for each other. So that's where the restorative part comes into play.
Okay. So it's restorative, but it's also about community resilience, too. It sounds like that's a big key. What is the focus on men and black men in particular, or dads in particular? Why is that a key to Frontline Dads? Why do you believe this is the approach we should be taking? And I would love to hear both of you guys' views on this. Is it so important that we focus on men in our community and like how it can affect our entire community in a positive way?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me give you a long, short story, right?
Okay.
And I'm going to connect it to this election. So Kamala Harris lost and Donald Trump won. And a lot of people, I've seen a lot of finger pointing after the fact, people saying, oh, black men didn't support this sister. Black men didn't come out and vote.
Right.
Black men didn't do this. Which is not absolutely the truth. You know, black men supported her at an alarming rate. But it shows you how important black men are in this society, in this community. The absence of black men leaves a void, right? So we had the whole drug, crack epidemic of the 80s and 90s. A bunch of black men died. A bunch of black men got addicted to drugs. A bunch of black men went to prison. So it left this void in our communities that we're still trying to, kind of repair from, right? Trying to heal from. So our thing is, and I'll say it because I'm a black man, our communities will not be completely restored or healed until black men take their place as leaders, as fathers, as community leaders and organizers, as husbands, as elected officials, as entrepreneurs. Black men have a role to play in this society. And the more that we sweep them to the margins and not give them a voice or not give them a platform and not create access to opportunity and resources, then we're going to be doomed as a community. That's part of the diabolical plan of our oppressors, right? So I want to be clear. You don't have to be a father to be a member of Frontline Dads. You don't have to be a man for real. You can be a woman or, women or female or girls or young boys. But our goal is to really help black men reclaim a place of leadership in our community so that we can have the guidance and support in the system around us to help those young people thrive, to help our sisters thrive, to help our communities thrive.
And, and this is happening through communication. I remember once upon a time in the 70s when I was growing up, we as black men, we always checked in on each other. Marvin Gaye came out with a song, Hey Brother, What's Going On?
Right.
What's going on? Tell me what's going on.
Right.
And that's how we used to check in with each other back in the 70s. I wasn't trying to get in your business and you wasn't trying to get in my business. But I just want to check in on you just to see was you okay. Because the same dog was biting you was also biting me as well. Right. And so what we're trying to recreate that same feeling of love. Because we are absent. A lot of folks look at our community as being broken. Right. But our community is not broken. Our community is just hurting. And what's going to heal that hurt is love. When I check in on you, hey, Mr. Griffin, how you doing, man? What's going on? Don't that make you feel good?
Yeah, I guess so.
That somebody could go their friends and care for you just to say those words. This is show that affection.
Right.
Now, but we're in an era now today, I say what's going on, be a gun battle.
What you talk about?
Yeah. That's right, Mr. Jones. Neighbors come out on the step with each other. They've been living together for 15, 20 years. They don't even speak to each other when they see each other in the morning.
Yep.
They get in their car and go about their business. They come home, run in the house, close the door. We don't check in on each other no more. I used to go down to Mr. Griffin's grandmother's house and say, excuse me, my mom asked me, can I get a stick of butter? Sure. And need you take that's right. Need you take that trash out, So what we're trying to create, we ain't trying to create, we are recreating. This is restorative justice initiative aspect of it. Right. It's about community. Right. And it's about relationship.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So through this program, I'm hearing that there is an aspect of community and relationship building. Can you just explain what happens during these 1 week mentorship events that Bilal and Brandon was talking about earlier? It sounds like there is a lot of community, a lot of vulnerability happening at these weekly meetups. What happens there exactly?
Yeah, so they're part of. So both of them have already completed the Peacemakers program. So they're in like a facilitators training.
Okay.
So they'll be able to help co-facilitate some upcoming sessions with a new cohort. So what goes on is, before you could get in front of a room and give instructions to folks and guide them through a curriculum, you got to be all right with you.
Right.
You got to work on your own stuff. Not that any of us is going to be perfect or any of us is ever going to be like, whatever. But at the end of the day, you got to deal with your own demons. Yeah. You got to confront your own shortcomings. You got to be able to look in that mirror and be honest about what you see, the choices you make, and the consequences. Because every decision we make has consequences. Right. So we would be remiss in our duty if we invest in someone and put them in front of a group to teach a lesson, and you going home and beating your girlfriend.
Dang.
How we gonna do that? And we talking about peace.
You're right.
We talking about healing. We talking about restoration. Right? We can't do that. So you got to be able to deal with your own stuff first. Right. Dig deep into those triggers that you got, because you can't, get into a fender bender and pull out a gun. And we talking about gun violence prevention. You can't be out there wearing Frontline Dads t-shirt or hoodie or whatever, represent the organization, and you on some bullshit.
That's right.
Right? So we got to deal with that first. So they've been through the program. They've learned some things, but now it's time for them to be able to dig deeper into these restorative practices, into these healing modules, right? Into these when Zig mentioned communication and relationships, everything is about relationships. Everything is about how you talk to a person, how you communicate, how you comprehend, how you understand, how you convey information, what's the messaging that you are delivering? Is it being received? Right? So that's our baseline. Right. We got to start there in order for you to do anything with our organization, because at the end of the day, you ain't just representing you.
That's right.
And you ain't just representing Frontline Dads. You represent black men. And people going to judge you on how you did that thing. If we send you to a school or a church or a community event, and then the feedback is like, where y'all get them from?
Yep.
Yep. Do you think that's going to be beneficial to our community, digging ourselves out of this hole?
Yep.
Nah. Yep. That's why.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So there's a representation piece of this. It sounds like there is some type of gatekeeping on like who can actually like be like one of these leaders and represent Frontline Dads.
Well, I won't say gatekeeping, but I will say this. Ultimately, just as an adult man, whether you got children or not, whether you're black or not, you got a responsibility to the people in your universe. Right? Would you agree with that?
I agree.
You could be Asian, you could be Chinese, you could be Italian, you could be whatever. You could be single, you could be married, you could be straight, you could be gay, whatever. You got a responsibility to those people in your circle, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So you repping them, right?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
We on the same page?
Absolutely.
So now you're going to go a step further and say, I want to step outside my circle, right? I want to help the healing of my community, right? But if you ain't got the skill set, if you ain't got the language and the understanding of the why, then you can't do that. You won't fall short. You won't fall on your face. So it's like when you was riding a bike, when you first learned how to ride a bike, when the brothers mentioned that, man, I learned how to ride my first bike in this neighborhood that we was driving through. You can expect to fall a couple times. You can expect to scrape your knees, your elbow. You might bust your chin. You might be a little wobbly.
That's right.
Your papa, whoever that was help you, might start off either with training wheels or holding the back seat. Then you get your balance. It's a whole process to riding a bike.
Yeah, it is.
It would be irresponsible for you to jump out there and try to ride down 95 or 76 the first time you got on a bike. Mm-hmm. It's a death wish. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
So it's the same thing about community empowerment, same thing about leadership development, right? Okay. You got to undergo the process that you asking the people that's following you to undergo. Because you can't expect them to do nothing you ain't done. If you ain't willing to strip your soul bare and be vulnerable and say, this is who I am, here's the mistakes I made, here's my whole dream, aspiration, here's how I operate, this is what makes me tick, here's what I'm scared of. If you can't do that, how you gonna stand in front of a group and ask them to do that?
That's right.
So that's where we at.
And I just want to add another piece to that because we're talking about transparency.
Yeah.
And when we talk about transparency, let me give you an example of a situation happened to me, Ruben and fellas, a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So I was down at Broad I was right off of Grange, and I forgot where that park is. And I was looking for this nursing place for my mom, where my mom get her nursing assistance from. So they had the street blocked off. They was doing construction work. You see them doing it all over Philly. Yeah. And they had this street blocked off. So I drove up out of the way of traffic just to look up the street to see if it was safe, to how far they was up before I go up that street. It was somebody behind me blowing his horn. Bum, 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 bum. I put my hand, I said, can you go around me? Boy poured up alongside me. That was other cars now, but he pulled up alongside me. Get the out of the way, this, that, and the other. I said, brother, I'm lost. I didn't cuss back at him. Right. I just said, brother, I'm lost, man. I'm just trying to, figure out what's going on. Well, I'll show you what you lost if I show you this gun. I said, brother, I'm not afraid to die. I know my Savior. But I said, let me ask you something. You're going to jeopardize your future because I'm lost. Mm. And now those people in back of you, don't you see those people in back of you? They are called witnesses. Mm. You don't think they got cameras around here? And dude looked at me like, and then he poured off. But when he poured off, this is what he did, Rube. He just kept jerking the car, I'll pull off and back him. I'll follow him back him. He'll stop, I stop. He'll stop, I stop. Right. Then he just drove away. Mm. Was I scared? Hell no. And yes, I was. What you mean, hell no? Dude said he had a gun.
Right.
Yeah, I was somewhat scared. I'm not going to hold you. Yeah. You know what I mean? I was scared, but I had to stand on what I believed in. Yeah. And that's what our forerunners done our forefathers done during the civil rights movement with Martin Luther King and other folk. John Lewis, and all those other folk, they took a stand so we can have rights to vote and different other things, fair housing and other things. Do we have that now? No, we don't have all that now. A lot of that stuff is not in play. Right. Is it their fault? Yes, some of their fault. But guess what? Let's look at us too. Some of that fault is on us as well because of lack of communication, lack of education, and lack of sharing this information within the community like we used to do back in the day, the 60s and 70s, even a little part of the 80s before the crack epidemic hit. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Yeah, that was a powerful story. And it goes back to, I guess it does go back to what you were saying about decreasing the escalation. That's what Frontline Dads is about.
Well, what's funny, did Zig tell that story? Thank you for sharing that. The data in Philadelphia shows that about 80% or more of those gun violence episodes, those shootings, started with two people having a disagreement, argument, a conflict that couldn't be resolved peacefully. So that a situation like that is prime. Mm-hmm. So Zig is a restorative justice practitioner, been doing this for years. He's an expert at it. So he knows how to respond in these moments where conflict can escalate quickly, quickly in the city. But for folks who don't have that training, for folks who don't have that temperament, folks who allow their pride to get in the way, somebody could have died.
Yeah, somebody
and probably would have died, right? Mm-hmm. Because Who the F you talking to? Like, mother F.
Yep.
Now you got two combustible people, one or both may have a gun, and no conflict resolution skill, no ability to bring it down, to de-escalate.
That's right, Mr. Jones.
So where do you think it's going to go? It's like water in a pipe, right? They said pressure bust pipe. The reason why is because all that water, if it can't go nowhere, it backs up the other end. Right. And with no release valve, that pressure becomes so strong that it busts them steel pipes or copper, whatever it is.
That's right.
We've seen it. We've seen it in the wintertime when the water freezes, right? Yeah. We've seen it in some. So it's the same thing with human emotion. If you take a warm soda bottle, it ain't got to be warm, it can be cold. But if you take a warm soda bottle and shake it up, and then you take the top off of, what happens?
It's gonna spray out
everywhere.
And that's our emotions, brother.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how violence, that's the root cause, not the root cause, but that's the root of the violent episode. You take somebody that got some mental health challenges or been drinking or high, or they already angry, or they already emotional, or they already whatever they are.
Right.
Then you put them into one of them situations, you shaking up that bottle, brother.
That's right. That's right. And you know one thing I could say too, what I did was I kept my hands on the steering wheel. I made sure that he seen me with my hands on the steering wheel. And again, and I want my family listeners out there to know, once again, yeah, I was scared as hell. I was. I got 3 lovely grandchildren and a lovely, lovely wife that loves Summer Ziggy. You know, but
Summer Ziggy?
Not all, but some.
Yeah, because I act up sometimes. Yeah. That's only behind closed with my wife and the grandkids, you know. Yeah. But to be honest, though, you know, Mr. Jeremy, man, and honestly speaking, though, and as Mr. Jones so eloquently put it, you know what I mean? A person can go from 0 to 100
real quick,
just like that. Boom. Now, guess what? Now you got 2 families hurting.
Yep.
You got the person who caused the harm family and a person who was harmed family. They are now hurting. And then not only that, then it dribbles down to the kids and then the grandkids, depending how old a person were.
Right. Wow. That sounds wild. And it's kind of crazy how, like, there is a trickle effect that really could affect, like, the kids, essentially, from 2 people, essentially just arguing and not having that conflict resolution skill.
Correct.
So this is super important. I want to ask a question, and it is about the. I want to ask about the gun safety and the gun wound health. You know that. Bilal was speaking about earlier. What is that aspect of the Frontline Dads Peacemakers program?
Well, let me address the gun safety first.
Okay.
Here's the reality: we give out gun locks.
Okay.
We preach about, you know, just gun safety and not using. I used to have a shop teacher who said, if the only tool you got in your toolbox is a hammer, then every problem gonna look like a nail. Right? So when gun violence is our first and last resort to resolve conflicts, a lot of people are gonna die. The flip side of that is we know everybody gonna give up their guns. We know everybody ain't gonna put a gun lock on it. So what we do is we have a group that are certified trainers that teaches people how to, you know, properly use a gun, store a gun, carry a gun, get a gun permit. Like all those things to keep you safe, because the other problem we have with guns is not just the interpersonal conflict, but when children find a gun in the house and accidentally kills or shoots another person in the house, because they think it's a toy. Excuse me, they think it's a toy. So the reason why we give out gun locks is so that to prevent those accidental deaths. But again, everybody's not going to use a gun lock, so we at least want you to practice good safety and storage for your gun. So that's one thing. The second thing with the gunshot first aid is if you're in a situation somebody gets shot that's close to you, you got about maybe like a minute or 2 before they bleed out, depending on where they hit.
Okay.
So learning how to apply that pressure to stop the bleeding can actually save a life until the paramedics and police get there.
Right. Okay. Awesome. That's that definitely answers perfectly. And one more question for you guys. I did ask them about different speakers that have spoken at the Frontline Dads. Obviously, asked about you, Mr. Zigler, but I know that Brother Shamari has actually spoken at some of the Frontline Dads, Peacemakers events, and there's been others. Would any of y'all like to speak on anybody who has been, speaking or facilitating any of these Frontline Dads events?
So Shamari is one of the co-facilitators, Brother Shamari, so he's there usually every week. Joe is one of the co-facilitators, and so is Jason. Dr. D is the therapist we have on staff to help us navigate through some of those emotional things and the trauma that we experience.
Wow, so there is a therapist. Wow.
Yeah. Okay. So we got therapists, we got case managers, we got facilitators. So yeah, those are some of the guests, but those are some of the teams. Some of the guests were Scott Charles, who runs the Cradle to the Grave program.
Okay.
That Gun Talk, Carice and her husband runs a program that teaches gun safety.
Okay.
So those are some of the guests. Who else do we had? Reverend Holston, who was organized the 57 Blocks Coalition and was working in the district attorney's office, and he's a black clergy, was a speaker. I'm trying to think who else we've had come through there. So those are some of the folks that we've had speak.
Some of the people. Mm-hmm. Awesome. I'm so glad. So again, if anybody would like to get involved in Frontline Dads and Peacemakers, how could they get involved in this great organization?
Yeah, easy. One of three ways. You can call us, 484-532-8772. You can email us, frontlinedads@aol.com. Don't laugh at the AOL. I'm old school like that. FRONTLINE, D as in David, ADS @AOL.com. Or you can go to our website and send us a message at www.frontlinedads.org. Or you can stop by the building. That's the fourth way. 2233 North Broad Street. Even if we ain't there, drop a little note through the gate. Say, hey, I was here. Where you at? You know what I mean? I'm trying to get at y'all. I want to be down. You can push the button and play the Brandy song. I want to be down. You know what I mean? Or if you see us out there in the community on the street somewhere, just give us a holler. You can holler at Bilal. Bilal's a great participant and recruiter. You can holler at our good. Now he's usually kind of shy. Brandon, he don't talk a lot.
Who?
Brandon, yeah. He giggles a lot though. he know how I feel about men who giggle. So
Sharp.
hopefully he'll start to address that.
He's sharp.
But yeah, and Zig. You see Zig. You got Wally.
That's right.
Ivy. We got a wonderful team that's out there every day serving the community. So if you see any of them, holler at us, man. We'll give you a shirt. Say, hey, where my Frontline Dad? Where my Peacemaker shirt at? That's how we know who was listening to the show.
That's right.
Yeah.
We got you on a free Peacemakers t-shirt.
Right. I like that. If there's one last thing y'all want to say, maybe something that could really help our community, one last quote from both of you guys, what would you say?
Well, for myself, I would say,
A last word.
love.
Love.
Just
Love.
Just love.
That's good. Ruben?
I just say that working together, we can do all things.
Okay.
Working
together, we can do all things. Listen, I had a really good time. My name is Germ, Griffin. We got really good guests in here. Mr. Ruben Jones. We got Mr. Zigler. We had Bilal and Brandon. They're still in the studio. And we were talking Frontline Dads, Peacemakers. I'm super glad. Super excited about this organization. And check them out. Like always, you can find my show on Spotify and wherever you get a podcast, Podchaser, and the rest of them. Germ Griffin, I'm out. Peace.
Peace.